Alright, just having fun with some of my model train stuff here. The entire main line's complete, and well, yeah. Just messing around with this stuff. I don't have a layout entirely just yet. I've made dioramas, but not entirely a completed layout. I've done one before, but just not this size. Here's one of the completed layouts I've done. I'm using Kato's 6-inch radius curves, or hang on, 150 millimeters compact track set. That's what I use for this layout. So it's very tight radius, but it's complete. And then here's one of my dioramas. For this current time, since I don't have a layout, it's letting me go through and experiment with some other track plans and some designs for it. One of my designs was, this was my original plan. It's called the Avilla / Garrett sub layout. New State Road 3, then my crossing, then all the way throughout, past Garrett Yard, and then all the way out to Auburn Junction. And I went on Google Maps and I found out, I believe what Steve Train says was 33 feet is, in real life, is about a mile on N scale. So I took that. That's how freaking long it would be. Great. So I did try to shorten this up so it wouldn't be entirely all too prototypical or not be too stupidly long. And especially dividing this in half would only get me out onto like 130 feet, and even then that would be just this whole thing in a loop. And this was back before I had 100% access to Google Maps like I do now. So, I mean, there you go. That's what I started out with. Yeah, there's a ton of track plans that I've made for this layout. So, like, stuff kind of like this. Yeah, you can't really see on camera. Hang on here. Okay, you can kind of see now. The dark blue is your rivers or creeks. This gray stuff is road. And then the pencil marking is track. So here's Limper Road, here's New State Road 3, and then this comes all the way down West Garrett, then Garrett Yard, the wide track of Garrett Yard, and then Garrett, the crossovers at Garrett, and then all the way to Auburn Junction. So that was one of them, but it didn't really work out. Here's another variation. Having a double track loop all the way around. One industry, one way to get off the layout. So there you go. And then, oh wow, 20-inch. Yeah, this would have been sharp curves. Then here's this other style. So it pretty much would have been just like East Avilla, West Garrett, that's it. Those were some of my biggest themes. Another variation had this entire loop of track, and here's a ruler. So when it was in centimeters, 1 centimeter was an entire foot in the scale. So it would have been around 6 foot long, I believe. But wait a minute. I don't know how well this would have gone. This may have been 2 foot by 4 foot. So I don't know. And then you guys see crossovers at Avilla, but this time I had like some sort of main line here. I would have followed up this industry, which is kind of weird. Not having a scenery divider. Or maybe the road was the scenery divider, I don't know. Then loop around Garrett Yard. Coming around here. Got you back to the zone. Auburn Junction, screw you. Another variation. And I believe all these lines here that are going vertical, I believe that was separation of the tracks, so there you go. Once again, East Avilla. East Avilla is going to be on every layout, besides the ones I've shown you, because these are just variations of track plans that I had. So you can see an actual crossover, then like the Cotto double crossover, and then West. So this whole thing here was West Garrett. Garrett Yard, very small, then just one wide track, and of course the little track there for the car repair shop and the Y track, and then I don't know, there was even a West Garrett here or a Garrett here, one of the crossovers, and then probably would have all just came back in and at the industry for context, and then that was it. Another variation, modern tech. Oh, that's inches. Had a layout at 9.5 foot. I actually think, hang on, this is a more modern one. This was recently drawn up. This would have been 30 inches, 40 foot, then a 3 foot. Going from East Avilla, West Garrett, Garrett Yard, and it seems like it was like nothing at Garrett, and then Auburn Junction, loop back around. This layout down here, of course you get the drill going all the way around. Auburn Junction being on this side. This one up here actually had the diamond at Avilla. If any of you guys want to send in a photo of what the diamond at Avilla looked like, please do so, because I don't know what it looks like. I gotta go on Google Maps for this and figure out where this interchange track was. Originally I had it down here, so you can kind of see where the pencil markings were. So that's that one. Here's another variation. 2 foot by 8 foot section, so there you go. Except this one went from 2 foot probably to 30 inches or 2.5 foot on the outside. I don't really know. Did it do that? Yes, it did. So of course Gary Yard, and good grief, the track would have been very sharp and then very wide. And of course, you got your normal stuff. But Auburn Junction. Oh wait, this is Auburn Junction. Okay, I was gonna say possibly Auburn Junction's not on there. The last video I posted on the first video I posted on model rating had a track plan that looked kind of similar to this. Of course, East Avilla, but this was kind of a fantasy layout. So it would have had a house, and then the track would have looped around to the back, and no scenery dividers. It all would have just looked normal. So I had a train station here, a church here, an industry here, maybe Phil's hobby shop here, the transmission lines. Or was this the church? I don't know. And then contacts, and then the little building, and a water tower, and then the old windmill, and then boom, there you go. This was just a wider version. Or maybe this was a fire station, and then this was a Pizza Hut. I don't know. During this time, I wanted to experiment with a bunch of things, and I wanted to figure out what all could I do. So, really the layout had 2 industries. One to take in hopper cars, the other to take in box cars. And then this one up here would take the trains off the layout. And then, of course, house industries. Here, I think this was a fire station, church, maybe Phil's Hobby Shop, Pizza Hut, Amtrak station. Get the point. I believe you get the point. And then here's this one. And this one is not the one that's on the ground here, but once again, basic track plan, East Avilla, West Garrett, comes around here. There's not an East Garrett or Garrett at all. And it just goes in before the overpass of New 3, as we call it. And then this one was all 4-foot sections. So the actual Garrett sub layout between Avilla and Auburn got down to 12 foot long. So, let's see here. Where's the... Okay. East Avilla, this is the place where I often rail fan at. I'll come around here. All these brown markings are farm crossings and driveways and stuff like that. And the black stuff is the roadways. The blue line in the center is the scenery divider. Come around here, there's no wide track, but it did have a long yard, which I liked. And then it comes over here. So you have West Garrett, Garrett. Come over here, Grand Elevator. This would be the rest of Garrett, and then it would loop around here. And then you would continue on going, passing a couple industries, and you get Auburn Junction. Then one of the overpasses, not New 3, well, it is New 3, but it's a single road instead of a double road like I-69. And then back again. And there you go. Those are a couple of the track plans. I believe there's even more somewhere. One of them was an L-shaped layout, and then another one, I don't know, there was a lot of styles I created. Even one of them that was on like a 2 foot by 3 foot layout. So that was interesting for me to build. So during the time, just get focused here. Just turn off the flashlight. Come on, get focused. During the time when I was trying to discover what I really wanted, I was having fun with building structures. So structures like this and all this other stuff were currently being built. Rather they are going to be used or not. So there you go, there's a couple variations. And it wasn't just buildings, it was also other stuff like I made a playground and a swing set. I even made some cell phone towers, a water tower, another cell phone tower, and even messing around with toothpicks to do the telephone poles. Made a tornado siren in N scale. Bunch of this other stuff here, and even with very small cardstock built the windmill. And I can even spin it. And I custom made these track signals. You can. I do know an N scale. I believe it's what Showcase Miniatures or something like that is building like N scale modern day track signals. But there you go. I try to have it so each add like the proper color target or light bulb inside. So yes, green is on the top and red is on the bottom. And these I did a railroad crossing review on a while back. It's actually about the Etsy crossing gates. I have them there and back here. Yep. Also for the track signals, I made the 3-head variant and the 2-head variant. Hang on. The 2 heads. And earlier this year, I worked on the transmission tower. I made some grain bins and silos and stuff like that. Made this massive elevator. So, there you go. And of course, I'm having fun with it, so that's what I got on this side. I just need to get a right-hand number 4 turnout to go in here and connect up. Then I got an industry, but it's going to be unique. Because you're going to have to shove the hopper cars over here just to get back into this industry, or just remove the hopper cars entirely. So anybody switching out this industry has to also switch out this industry, or do something with it. It's not like Context back here. We're just going to have this. And yes, there's going to be a scenery divider. There's going to be an entire divider right all the way up to the edge right here, that track pieces. And the gap itself, the gaps between the tracks, that's where I plan to have the divider. And that's where the 1-foot marking is supposed to be. Or maybe not. So this whole side here, it's not going to be there. This is going to come out, and then I'm just going to have the scenery divider. Because it wouldn't make sense to have a church and then a bunch of areas where trucks are supposed to back in. And that's the size of a container. Trying to fit something this big back in there, not going to happen. So, however, this stuff here is on the other side, so all this would stay. So, that's what I got so far with this. And this is the bin where I store all my buildings. I have some signs and stuff in here. You can kind of see in there. And then I got some bungalows and some of those small white and orange posts, whistle signs and stuff like that. I made a house, and a little shack, and then an industry that's not fully painted. A couple grain bins. And this grain bin, or silo, or whatever you want to call it, it's supposed to have a bottom piece. And that way tractors and combine, or the tractors and trucks for the grain can come by and pick stuff up. And then like a storage barn. And 2 other plastic pellet silos. So, just for this stuff, I'm just pushing it around. I do have a controller for this stuff, and these are the terminal tracks. You can tell because they have this little hole here. These are the terminal track pieces. And pretty much, I have the wires in this bin for the double cross, for pretty much every switch track here, and for these terminal track pieces. And here's my controller. I do like these Kato controllers because it just feels nice. Then I got a restart button in case there's something screws up. And it's nice. I like what Kato does and stuff. And I do have the power pack. I do have it all, so I can attach it. I just can only have one track on. The other track cannot be working. I don't have a special piece just yet that can fit both wires. Also for my grade crossings, as this is just the normal re-railer piece. These over here are actually the special ones. They're actually Atlas wooden ties. Kind of cut out to fit. And I believe I had one in this tote, or a couple. Yeah, I do. If you ever have LS Code 80 Flex Track, this is what you can do. You can, yeah, come on, okay. So this, what I recommend doing is, if you ever have like one of these, to set this in place, since I've lost 2 in this, take your hobby knife to one of the edges and chop it so it's nice and curved, and that way when you set it up against there, like kind of at an angle, when you set it in place, it can go right beside it. Yeah, I know I'm going to take down my crossing. You can just set it in place and it will look fine. Now I will say, you will have to cut the rail spike detail off. So all these little spike or tie plates, you're gonna have to cut off. Now, anything smaller than this standard track piece, I don't know how big these are, but roughly around half of them, the half size, it's gonna be like this. So this would, you can say this is your terminal track piece, or one of these that comes with the switches, or even a sensor track from the Kato automatic crossing gates. If there ever anything smaller than this, be very careful. Especially if they came with the diamond. Anything smaller, like this, or anything smaller, just be careful with. And do not touch the ones on the inside. Do not touch these spikes here, just the ones on the outside. Especially do something like this with the grade crossing is kind of over the next section of track. And not like this. And not cover the entire thing, because it's going to be hectic trying to make sure that the rails are going to stay in place and they're, yeah, stay in place and not fall off or anything like that. And also, do be very careful, because you may even screw up with the contact on, again, the terminal to, from the terminal to the rail itself. So do be careful with it. Here's a better look at the track signal here. The pole and the things that connect to the lights. Yeah. Come on. Okay. Anyways, the lights and the pole, or the bracketry and the pole itself, is made from a toothpick. The rest of this is like cardstock. So I have cardboard signal heads, and, or not cardboard, but cardstock. And the tiny stuff, there we are. You can kind of see some of the detail. That's all thin strips of cardstock. So you don't always need styrene for this stuff. You can go with whatever you want. You don't have to make it difficult. The water tower, the cell phone towers, and the Waterloo Amtrak station are made from a 3D pen. I personally would rather cardstock. Just make them out of cardstock. It's just easier. So this is just what I have for now. I'm not sure if I will ever get a layout or what the size will be. I like this because it has industries and a passenger station. But there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed.